costs just to, obviously in the beginning, your advertising cost of spend is quite high, but
Yes, yes.
as you start to generate sales, that's why it's really important to do fine in the beginning, because
Okay.
if
Yeah,
not,
thanks. Yeah.
you never get the reviews.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Yes.
And
I thought I learned from the previous one, so I don't want it to go to waste. Hence, I'm staying with Waterboard to just see if I can maximize it and hopefully get more my returns back from this one. Yeah, before I
yeah. And
jump on
did
that
you, is
product.
there anybody selling the exact same?
Yes, there are people selling the exact same, but what I've done is I think some of them are not. They're selling like 2 leads. I'm selling like 3 leads. I kind of try to vary it a little bit, so just to make it more attractive. Yes,
Okay, so yours is a different size.
I look for me. Yeah, some people are actually selling like various sizes, but I'm starting with a size I think the market because I did my research and I think that's probably gonna go. And it's also going to look attractive as well, a little bit more attractive. Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, that sounds like you've got it sorted. You'll be
Yeah,
able to
we'll
give us an
see.
update next month because you'll have them in stock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then time will tell. It would have been good to have them in stock now because everyone's going back to school. Is it more like gyms and stuff? It's 3 liters. It's
Yeah,
quite
it's
a lot,
more
right?
gyms. Yeah, sport. I'm targeting sports. Yes, more. That's
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe next time when we come back together, we can have a look at your listing and go through it and see if you
Yeah.
can see anything that needs improving.
Okay. Thank
Um, that might be quite a good thing for everybody to see.
you.
So that's good. So welcome everybody. I know for just a few more people, we've got a very quiet Q&A session tonight. It's August. People are still enjoying their holidays. I don't blame them. Alex, welcome. I know you got a few questions. Happy to take questions over the chat. You can turn your camera on, you can whatever. It really doesn't matter. But Alexander, I know that you've got a question. I think it was about when you have different products, do you need to change the name of the product, the brand name, or do you do it all under one umbrella? Um, it's a really good question, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that your question?
Yeah, like for example, let's say I let's say I see a product on a sports and outdoor niche, and I want to go for it. Then I now see another one on maybe um on any other niche, for example. Can I still use that name? Because the niche I've seen now, I've even done my logo on it already. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah,
But let's say I see another niche, for example, now. Will I still use the same brand, the same name?
yeah.
Yes.
So
Or
a
do I
couple
have
of
to?
yeah, so a couple of things like when you do your logo, what I would advise, so what Alexander's saying, for those of you who maybe didn't quite catch it because it's quite quiet, is if he finds like 3 different products from all different niches, can he have one brand name? And the simple answer is yes. So when you name your Amazon Seller Central store, you can name it anything. So your store name can be the Everything Store, it could be ABC, it could be anything. And you can change the name of your store as you go. So you don't even need to really worry about your store name. The brand name is your trademark name. So for instance, if I wanted to do something, for instance, in hand care, I might call it Le Main in French, or I might call it something that was all about hands because I was going to do a nail varnish, a file, hand cream, and I was going to focus on hands. And I would put in my trademark for that logo, but I would put it in all the classes under hands. And then when I have my Seller Central open and I've got my trademark, I will do my brand registry and attach that trademark to my Seller Central account. Now, if you're thinking of doing different products, so say for instance, one might be a gardening tool, one might be for the kids, one might be for the house. What I would do is I would find a name that would work across everything. So for instance, there's lots of stores that we know that we go in and shop, like TK Maxx, for instance, and it sells everything from beauty to hair care to clothing, you name it, to jewelry, to everything. So what I would do is, if you're thinking of doing lots of different products, I would think of a name that basically could be for anything. If you are
Yeah.
focusing on a niche, so you're focusing on golf, or you're focusing on running, or you're focusing on a particular sport, or a niche, I would keep the brand name really, really like
Yeah.
narrow, and I would talk about, because sometimes when you're buying a brand, take for instance supplements. So you could buy supplements that was called, I don't know, wellness something. But if you've got a
Cholesterol.
if you've got a nutrition brand that is really just all about nutrition, it probably puts you in a little bit of a stronger position, because you think, oh wow, this brand is really knows what they're talking about. So I prefer brands that are really talking about what the brand does, but sometimes we have to start off with a generic name. Um, Whatever brand name you do, just make sure once you've done the logo, you go to the IPO, the government website in the UK, and you do your trademark. Um, and make sure you think about all the classes that you want to sell in, and you register that trademark under those classes. That will give you the ultimate protection. If you just, for instance, say you want to do something with, I don't know, jumpers, and it's kind of the cozy jumper store. Um, when you buy from the cozy jumper store, you pretty much would expect them to be experts in cozy jumpers, right? But if they were called, like, I don't know, like I said before, ABC, and they sold garden rakes and jumpers and slippers and dog beds, it's not so specialized. So again, there's fors and againsts. If you have to do two trademarks for two different brands, you can put them both in your Seller Central store, and you can sell products within those brand names. That will cost you a little bit more. It's £170 for one trademark, one class. Obviously, as you add more classes, it's £50 a time more expensive, but then it gives you more brand value, because you're really niching in on what that product speaks to the customer about. So, it's 10 of one and 5 of another. It's really about personal choice.
Yeah.
Does that
Okay.
make
Thank you so
sense?
much. Yeah, it does. It does.
So, Alex, have you chosen your products?
Yeah, I've chosen a product. I'm trying to get some other products that will go with it, so I can also increase my average order volume.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Average order value. So you're going to bundle some products together.
Yeah, so I could bundle some products together too as well.
That's a really good idea. And what we tend to do is, if you guys are stuck as well, I have some amazing box factories in China. And what we tend to do is, say, for instance, say we were talking about pajamas, or just because I was talking about cozy jumpers, and the nights are getting darker now, so starting to think of autumn time. So if, for instance, we wanted to put a pajama set together with a pair of slippers and some comfy socks, for instance, what I would do, even if they came from two different factories in China, I would have them packed together in China. I would have them packed off at a factory, boxed, or say you were doing it in a pump bag, like the kids' pump bags for school. Um, and I would have them polybagged with barcodes before they're sent into the UK. It's a lot cheaper to do the pack off in China. So if any of you have got products like that, and you're stuck and you're thinking, oh, I need to get this packed off in China, or I need a box factory, because sometimes what I find is, when you're using, say, a factory's making a tech product, for instance, and you want them to do it in a box, sometimes they charge you like $2 or $3 for a box. It's really, really expensive. So sometimes the best thing to do is get it boxed somewhere else, so you can make a custom box, and they can do a cheaper, much cheaper, but the same quality box. Sometimes you have to like weigh up the odds. Sometimes it's just as expensive, but a lot of the times, if you go to a proper printing factory that do boxes full time, it's way cheaper than actually using a factory that don't produce boxes, but they've just produced the product because they're also going to have to get a box factory to produce it, and then they add on margin as well.
Okay.
So again, if you're looking at bundles, just look at making sure it's assembled there, it's packed in the poly bags, it's barcoded. Because again, if you can add value in a bundle, then it's a really good way to make a product, make people go, oh, this is like a great idea because with
All right.
that with that brand I only get this, with that brand I only get that. But actually, I'm putting everything together, and it's much easier for a client to just shop one than shop two or three purchases.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, so if you've got any more questions, you can simply ask them, put them in the chat. Tina, how are you getting on? Can you talk, or are you doing stuff with?
I know say I get your Nigerian number that time.
Can you hear me,
I
Kelly?
can, Tina. I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good, and you? Hello,
I am
everyone.
very good, thank you, darling. How are you getting on with your
Okay.
products?
I just requested for the sample.
Yeah.
So it hasn't arrived, and I'm trying to choose a brand name to enable me start applying for
The trademark.
what's it called again?
The trademark.
For trademark, yeah. Yes, yes. So
And
I've
what
been
is your
considering
niche?
a series of brand name. My niche is the one because I bought a bundle from Seller Hook, so it's closer to outdoor running.
Okay.
The product they gave me has to do with outdoor
Okay.
activities.
So
Yeah.
sometimes what's a good idea, Tina? Do you use any AI tools?
Like
Like
AMC
ChatGPT?
Scout. Yes, I do.
Okay, so what you can do in ChatGPT, or you can do it in Perplexity, or there's quite a few tools. It just to help you brainstorm. I mean, you might have people in the house that are really good at coming up with names, but what I would do is get into some of the AI tools and say, this is my brand. It's all about running, keeping fit, blah, blah, blah. Put in all the details. Can you help me
Can I
come up
make a
with some?
suggestion?
Can you help me come up with some names? Um, and again, you can
Okay.
see what they come up with because it might be a good idea just to kind of get the names, just to kind of get some ideas.
Okay.
That's also a good way to sort of
Okay.
brainstorm. And then the the thing to
Uh,
do from there is to make sure the names are available in the IPO. So what I would do from there
okay.
is I would then, once you've got a few names, um, go to the IPO. So hopefully you can see my screen now. Um, I'd go to the IPO and then I would, where it says search for a trademark, um, search by keyword, phrase, or image. If you click on that, you can then search the words here that you've been looking at. And it will
Okay.
search all the way back to 1876 to see if that name is registered or not. Because what you don't want to do is start applying for a trademark when someone already owns the name. So
Yes.
also think about, it needs to be just short and sharp. If you think about all of the brand names in sport and running, like Adidas, Nike, Asics, all of those, they're very quite short names.
Mm.
They don't really always mean something. So for instance, when you're in an
Mm.
AI tool, you could say in Perplexity, like, oh, I'm looking at names like this that are available on the IPO and have a domain name available as well. And it will give you a whole bunch of them. If they start
Okay.
going off on a tangent and start giving you really bad names, correct it. They're only as good as the information that you put into these AI tools. But again, it can be a
Okay.
really good thing when you're looking for names, because otherwise you can kind of get a bit stuck.
Okay. I came a bit late, Kelly. But the last bit I had you explain. Did you say that the name has to reflect the niche you're dealing with? Is that what you said, or did I?
Well, obviously that was kind of Alexander's point. So he was asking, because he's doing lots of different niches, he was saying, could he use a
Okay.
brand name across all of them?
Can I suggest something to her?
Yes.
Okay, for example, I used ChatGPT on what I was doing. Now, I also had to go through. I also had to pick up all the reviews on some of this stuff, and I pop it on ChatGPT to tell ChatGPT, from all these negative reviews, suggest to me, suggest to me things that I could do correctly. There's a way I prompted it actually. So ChatGPT gave me what I can use, gave me a suggestion I can give to the produce manufacturers to correct all the mistakes.
Absolutely.
Then
Absolutely.
I now ask ChatGPT, based on this brand, based on all these questions I've asked you, what do you suggest for the brand? He gave me a name for this product, and also designed a logo for me too as well, and also did all the commercials for me I needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm driving home actually. When I get on my laptop now, I would come up. I think we should just set up a group so that we could assist some of us that are on
Yeah,
this
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can definitely do that. We did start one a year ago, but then because everybody was like, didn't want to share their product ideas, and it's kind of
no, we don't
sometimes
need to share the prototype, but the truth is, the ocean is so wide. That's just what I observed.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do that.
Ocean is just so wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, I think, Alex, it's kind of what we were saying. Like, you can ask chat. There's other ones like Perplexity. There's other ones that are free. They're very good at like names, ideas. And like you said, if you put the information into them, they can give you improvements, ideas. There's so much stuff now. Obviously, sometimes it's a bit like, oh my God, that's not quite right. So you always have to read it and make sure it makes sense. But again, you can chuck in lots and lots of reviews and lots of different copies from the top of the page. And it can really, really help you. And it's definitely something that you should think about, because it will help you come up with some names and give you some ideas. And I think for what you're doing, something to do with sport or running, if that's going to be your niche, then, if you're buying something and it says from the running store, for instance, you would be much more likely to buy it than if it was called ADB Labs or something. So I think, again, you just got to look at if you're niching down on something or if you're just going wide. If you're going wide, it doesn't really matter. But if you're niching into something, then why not use the name or, make people look like you're a real specialist in that.
Okay. That's taken.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kelly. And thank you, Alex.
He's very helpful. So Tina, when are you expecting your samples to arrive?
I just placed the order yesterday.
Okay.
So they say it's going to take like 10 days.
Okay. So what I would do in the meantime is buy some of the competitor products from Amazon if you haven't already done that, and take pictures when
Someone,
they arrive of
we are
how the
eating.
product
How many people
arrives,
beat you today?
and basically photograph the products, take it out, have a look at the products. You can always return them, but it's really important to have a look at what your competitors are doing, so
Okay.
that when your product arrives, you can almost compare them side by side. And if for instance
Okay.
you order the bestseller and then your sample arrives, you can test them side by side, and you can say, right, this is the
Okay.
bestseller, this is my product. If I got both, which one? Yours is not going to be branded yet, but you can have a good idea on the quality.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can then actually compare. You can compare against the other bestseller, and you might buy 2 or 3 different products in that category. It's always a really good thing to do. Again, because you can just really compare side by side.
Okay.
So I would definitely look at doing that as
Okay.
well. And then by the time your sample arrives, you're going to be like, wow, this is really good, or this is really bad, or look at this, look at that. And it will really help you understand why people are buying this bestseller. And are they going to buy yours? Is yours better? If it is, then you're onto something. And then you've just got to look at how you package it.
Okay.
Okay, good, good, good. Well, all good things. What about you, Bola?
Okay, be quiet. I don't know what I'm doing. Ellie.
Whereabouts are you in your journey?
So my journey is still at the beginning,
Okay.
and I've practically just put everything on hold, and I'm just getting my head around things. I'm learning from other people talking, and I
Yeah.
really like the idea. Alex saying if you have a group, that might be really helpful for somebody like me because I have a lot to cover and catch up with. But I think I'm ready now.
Yeah. Well, look, it's sometimes we can definitely put your numbers in a chat, and you guys can, set up a little group between yourselves. That's not a problem. And if that helps you guys, then we can do that, or we can do it and set it up with you guys. Whatever you want to do, it's absolutely fine. Sometimes when you learn something new and you start something new, it's kind of just getting yourself in the right headspace. So sometimes it takes a bit of time. And what's really good about these Q&A sessions is it reminds you why you started. And when you hear other people and you're like, oh, they're getting their samples. Oh, they've just launched their product. Oh, they're having an issue with this. What would they do? How do you do that? Because there's one thing learning on your own, but there's another thing when you are learning with others. And I think, especially in the beginning, it's good to have, the sessions where you can get questions answered, you can share ideas, you can get feedback, because, there are questions all the way along. Right now, you guys are questions all about the beginning part. But once we deliver into Amazon, the questions are going to be different, because it will be like, oh, this product's really converting, this product's not. Why is that? Then we can look into it. Are the images right? Is the listing right? Have you got the right keywords? Have you got the right ads? So again, like, there's different stages of the journey as we go along, and it's always good to have, support as you go, because a lot of the courses where you study alone and there's nothing else, it's really difficult because you feel isolated. So I think, don't feel, Bola, that, oh my God, I haven't really started yet, everyone else has started. The point is, you're coming to the sessions, you're learning, and you will get started. It sometimes just takes a little bit of time. And some of my best students, it's taken them 6 months. It's taken them 6 months even to find a product. So don't feel like, just because you're not first out the door, that you're not going to be successful. Sometimes things just take time. Irina, my darling, any questions
Yeah.
from your side?
Oh, yes, Kelly, list.
Well, I'm with
Um,
you. So if there's anything we don't cover, we can do it tomorrow. But go ahead.
the question just came up to me. I obviously need a label for Amazon, but
Yes,
we can't create the label until we do the listing.
correct.
But how does it gonna work if they send me the product to the UK? So I can obviously I can print the label myself and stick it on a product before I send it to Amazon. But that's gonna be the label gonna be stick to the outside packaging with like a plasticky thing. So when the customer say open, and the cover is obviously the plastic cover will go. And if they wanted to return, how would that work with Amazon? Because Amazon will have no label to scan. Does that make
Okay,
sense what I said?
so obviously, yeah. So basically, we can't. In an ideal world, we would just. I'm just looking for a box. We would print your FNSKU label on your box, but obviously
Mm-hmm.
because we're waiting for the trademark because basically Irina's doing a registered brand, so we don't want to do a generic listing. So rather than the products are nearly ready, so rather than wait for the brand to be registered in another couple of months, we're going to ship the goods. Once we've got the trademark, we'll do the brand registry, and then we'll do the listing. So we're going to send in from the UK. So you're absolutely right. So what we can do is one of two things. When we give you, we'll send you the PDF of the FNSKU labels,
Mm-hmm.
and we can either print them ourselves and stick them either onto the back of the boxes, or we can put a poly bag and a barcode, or we can have Amazon prep the boxes for us. They charge about 40p an item, something like that, between 25p and 45 now. It used to be 25, it's gone up a little bit. So for instance, if we wanted to just keep them in the master carton, so like 20 per master or whatever it is, and we just wanted to send in the big cartons of all the units, we could simply I send you the labels, you stick them on the front, you send them in. When Amazon scans that master, it recognizes you as a seller. It's waiting for those items because we've already created the shipment plan. And then literally, if we do prep by Amazon, they will prep the products for you. Or you can do prep by yourself, but it just means then you don't have to open every single one of the master and stick every single one of the boxes.
Okay, so when they prep, would they include in like a return in case people have to return, how they're going to be scanned? Okay.
Yeah. Because what happens with Amazon, you don't need to worry about having the label. If you want to return anything in your Amazon account, you go to orders and you go to the item that you've got and you say return this item. And then it asks you what's the reason that you want to return this item, and you say faulty, not wanted, whatever it is, and then it will give you a code, and then that QR code you normally stick onto the envelope, take it to every Royal Mail. They click it, they put a label on it, and it goes back. And when Amazon get that label with the barcode on it with what they've sent you, they know it's your product.
Oh, okay, fine.
And then Amazon sort out your returns. So what they do is when they get the returns into Amazon, they sort them out. So if the product is perfect and not ruined, so they haven't like trashed it, then that will get put back into good stock.
But how could can I just interfere here? Like say if the box is open and obviously doesn't have a plastic seal over it, but the item inside is actually fine and can be resold. People just open it, but they decide they don't want to. So how does this get resold? They get resold unsealed?
So what they will do, if they think it's in an unsellable state, they will then return the goods. So in your Amazon Seller Central account, you have options. You have the option to have your goods that are returned destroyed, or you have the option for them to return the goods to you.
Okay.
At what stage you can repack them and then resend them in. So while we're talking about this, Irina, we should get some spare boxes sent to us with the shipment.
Cool.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So let's make sure we do that tomorrow. Let's make sure. So say for instance, we just get like an extra 50 flat pack boxes, so that when we set up the Seller Central, we'll put your return address in there. So when we get returns, they send to you rather than they destroy in field, because obviously for those of you who don't know, Rena's selling a really quite expensive product, so we don't want them to destroy in field. That's really for products like just like cheaper products like napkins and like products that are going to cost you more for them to send to you than what you are making. Yeah. So when your margins are very low, but you're selling really, really high volume. So that's what I would recommend. We will get the returns. Hopefully there won't be a lot. You can then look at the device, make sure it's all fine. If you feel like it needs repacking, we repack it. And then when the next shipment's ready to go in, we send it from there. And even if it's coming from China, we can still send another carton in from the UK. It doesn't matter. You can replenish stock from wherever you are in the world. It doesn't have to come from a factory. You can have overstock sitting in your garage at home. If I'm doing a new product for Amazon and I think, you know what, like I think this 200 is going to bam out so fast, I will then have another however many I think that's going to take the time to make that product again in the garage, so we can ship from the garage, because or into a 3PL, even better. You haven't even got to touch it then. So it really depends. But yeah, that's what I would do. Get some spare boxes, flat packed. Then we know if some people are using it, sending it back, but we've got a rubbish box, we can just then simply repack, send it in as good, and we don't lose out on the money that it's the manufacturing cost.
Cool. And what's a PPC ad?
Pay-per-click. So basically, when you start, and again, we'll educate as we get to this stage, when the stock becomes available in Amazon, people kind of go, oh, that's it now. Yeah, I've got my product, I've done my research, I've improved it, I've got an amazing box, I've done the branding, and they feel like, oh, it's in stock in Amazon and it's going to sell. When you first start selling on Amazon, Amazon doesn't know who you are. You're a brand new seller, and we need to wake up the algorithm to say, hey, I'm here. I'm a new seller. I'm selling this product. Come and buy my product. And when you first launch your product, you probably indexed and ranked at like lots and lots of -1,000 pages. So you're not anywhere near the front because, of course, you've never sold this product before. So it's the job of whoever's running your ads or yourself to get your product to page 1, which is why we did the initial research to make sure that there is space in that top 10. So we basically run ads. Pay-per-click ads are Amazon ads that you can do lots of different ads. I do have a section in the course about it, and we can definitely touch on this as you get more experience and we get the products into stock. But basically, you can set the amount of money that you want to spend on your ads a day. So you can always cap that. So say you want to spend £5 or £10, or you want to do 3 ads at £10 a day. You can see when they're running out. You can see your advertising cost of spend, and you really start to build up some history. And the more targeted ads we run, the better the sales. And also the nice thing about it is it also lifts your organic rank. So your products start selling by themselves because organically they're also being lifted up in the rank. So maybe next month I can show you into one of our ad accounts. I'll log in before we start and I can show you a little bit about how the ads work. But that's something that we will be running for you, because initially you have to let Amazon know you're here. The other thing that we talked about initially at the beginning was with Yinka was running the Vine program, and that's the early reviewer program. It's really important when you come into stock, if you haven't got lots of different people from different IP addresses that are going to buy the product and review it fairly and squarely and not any kind of any backhanders going on, But if you haven't got anybody that wants to buy the product, then the best way to do this is through the Vine program. And there is a cost of enrolling in the early reviewer program, but it means that Amazon will send out your product to however many people you choose. Normally it's around 10 to 20. You can choose less than that. Sometimes you can choose more than that. And for a fee that you pay Amazon from your ad account of about 140, 120 pounds, you then basically get all this product sent out. Of course, you're covering the cost of goods, but then they leave videos and photos and they leave reviews on your product. That helps the algorithm. It also helps you start ranking and indexing and starts to wake up the A9 algorithm, and Amazon really starts to know who you are. So that, along with the pay-per-click ads initially, is really what we do in the initial stages. As my clients get better and the product's ranking and we get more and more reviews, depends on what market they're in, whether we turn off ads completely or whether we keep doing ads. I have a client in the States that does hair care, and they're always like in the top 3, but it's super competitive. So we run about 70 different ads, which sounds crazy, but it's really competitive. And, you know, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars business. But we have to run the ads, because if we stop the ads tomorrow, we'd lose a lot of the business. So then you might get, I've got another client in the UK that sells in a really uncompetitive niche, but it's quite a bulky product. They have to bring 40-foot containers of them in, but they've never run an ad in their life because it's just not competitive. So, you know, you go from the extreme of really, really needing loads of ad campaigns to not running any. And somewhere in between is normally where people land, maybe between 3 and 5 ads on a normal account on a normal product. So I've got a question. If you've got any questions, please put them in the chat.
Kelly,
Yes.
you've seen my product. Are you likely to buy my product?
Yes, of course. Absolutely. My son's been using it, so I mean, it's a hit. It's a hit. I'm like, don't use it. It's going to the influencer next week. But he's like sneaking it out of the box, so I've had to wrap his hands.
Yes, because he
so
need to buy. I need
yes,
his review.
yes, we've got a good influencer that's going to be doing the video on it as well, which is really good. And I've got her. She's going to send it me back as well, so I'm going to do like a prepay so she can send it back, which is good. Yeah, so I've got a question here. So some of the manufacturers ask for 500 pieces, and you can only ship 200 into Amazon FBA. Yes, you're right. Sometimes the MOQ might be 1,000. It might be more than that. What I would say is, if you can do, it really depends. I always want to do a branded product, because brands and private label is going to put your product above anyone else's. What I would say sometimes is, if they're saying that they won't do, if they do 200 but they won't put it branded, then sometimes you might, if your budget doesn't stretch, you might need to do it that way. Once you know it's selling, then you do the private label, you do the branding. That's one way of getting around it. But if they're just saying 500, that's it. If you're sure that the product's going to work, then you can ship 200 into Amazon. You can ask them to hold it. We call it like, and call them down. So what we do is, say for instance, we buy obviously a lot bigger, but say we buy like, I don't know, 40,000 units because we want to get the price. We might call it down in 10,000. So you may say to the manufacturer, I want to take the 500 over a period of 4 months, but can I call it down? So you call 200 down. Once that sells through, Amazon lets you stock much more product. Then you call the 300 down. Or you bring 200 into Amazon, 300 into your garage, and ship from your garage when you want to replenish. So there's a number of different ways you can do it. But what I would say is always negotiate. If you can do it without full branding, you can normally get that MOQ down. Never accept the first offer because they always lie. And not always lie, that's a bit bad, but they try to push you. So you have to push back. So negotiate. Yeah. So that's what I would say for that. And like I said, if the factory are saying we could do 200, but the MOQ on the box alone is 500 or 1,000, we can get around that issue. You can buy the 200 and we can get the box made somewhere else. So for instance, we have a business in TK Maxx with electronics and tech products, and we make the boxes completely in a different place and we ship them all into a warehouse where they get packed off. So we don't even make the boxes in the same place because they don't actually make boxes, and we didn't like the first boxes, so we do our own boxes. So there's lots of ways around product, lots of ways to do pack offs, to send products to be finished. So just find out when they say they can do 500, why? Is it because they're doing the custom box? What if you didn't do a custom box? Is it still 500? If they say no, it's 200, then maybe you do 200 to begin with and then you custom next time. Or we find a box factory that'll only charge 40 cents for a box. Doesn't matter if you make 500 or 1,000. We ask them to keep them in stock till next time and we ship them 200. So there's loads of ways of being creative. Okay, so don't think if they tell you one thing, that is what it is, because there's always ways to get around these things. Okay, are there any more questions? Oh my God, the last time I looked at the clock, it was like 7 minutes past 8. Okay, guys, we've got 8 minutes together. Any more questions from anybody? Any more questions? Any more questions?
Okay, I'll ask a question. If you sell a similar product, if say, for example, I have two pieces of two different product, but they're kind of same product, let's say they are soaps or something. Can you copy the listing from one and into another, just change a few things? Like a names or ingredient, or how does that?
For instance, if it was soap, so like shampoos,
Well, like you have
skincare,
different flavor.
You need to do complete different listings, because obviously, say for instance, if somebody is wanting a moisturizer with like a glow, and then you did a moisturizer for like oily skin, the keywords that you would search for one moisturizer compared to another will be completely different. So you may have something similar, but the keywords and the back-end search terms and everything will be different.
So it's like on Amazon, sometimes they have a product and underneath slightly different one. Would that go into this?
About a variation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a way on Amazon. So when you launch a product on Amazon, you can either launch different products, or you can have one sort of, we call it a parent, and then we have the children underneath. So for instance, we could have, say we did a dog lead, and then underneath on the variations, there was pink, there was blue, there was black, there was green. That's perfectly fine. And for that, you have a main listing, and you do it as the child of the parent ASIN. So it's more complicated to set up. What we normally do in the beginning is we don't always do it with parent and child ASINs, because if one of the colors or one of the variants get a bad review, it pulls all of the products down. So what we tend to do sometimes when we're launching products that fit together, but they're different, so they're different fragrances or they're different things they do to the skin or the hair or whatever, we may do 4 or 5 different listings. We make sure they're all selling well, all getting good reviews, and then we ask Amazon and we merge the listing. That enables us say for instance, you launched 4 really good products and you're getting 4.5, 4.8, 4.9 stars. And then you launched one of the products and it was like 2 stars. Like for some reason, they didn't like the smell, or it can pull your whole listing average right down. And you don't want to come under 4 stars. So sometimes strategically we launch separate and we merge at a later date once we've got the feedback and we know that it's working.
So my product, they're coming in actually, if it's coming different color.
Yeah, we would do of your product would do variations, because you haven't really got anything people don't like, because if they don't like that color, they're not going to buy that color. So
Okay.
definitely for yours, we would just add a variant. We'd just add, it would be really simple.
Okay.
So that would become the parent ASIN and we'd add the children. It's like the children attached to the parent. It's kind of strange, but that's what they call it. So yeah, we would do that anyway for you, but you could then have, your product, and then you would have all the different colors. If you had a stripy one, a polka dot one, a this color, or that color, a furry one, a leather one, or this or that, like literally the whole thing.
Polka dot, you're giving me ideas.
So pride, denim,
I can just see contracted manufacturers say, can you do a polka dot printing on that one?
See? Exactly. All right, guys. Listen, is there any more questions? Are there any more questions? Because if not, it's time to go. I will. So Tina, Alexander, Yinka, Irina, I will get Ambola. I will get Clive and the team to set up a WhatsApp group for you guys tomorrow. Okay? Or Friday. No, it's Friday tomorrow. I've lost my days with this bank holiday. It's like driving me mad.
Yeah, you've got a Zoom meeting tomorrow, just remember.
We have, yes. 9 o'clock, bright and breezy. For everybody else, we'll set up that WhatsApp group tomorrow, and then you guys can chat between yourselves. If you need anything before the next session, Tina, Yinka, Bola, Alex, Irina, I speak to you anyway. Please don't hesitate to contact us. And hopefully Yinka next